Mr. Masiyiwa, please welcome on board. Tusimame. Makofi hayatoshi jamani. Tuongeze tena makofi. Now allow me to welcome on the stage Madam Irene Kiwia, who is the founder and CEO of Frontline Management, a public relation company, communication consulting firm, founded in 2016. For those who don't have a deepest quest or the deepest understanding of who Mr. Strive is, allow me now, before I welcome the discussion to continue, to read his brief portfolio or profile so that we can keep in touch to know the status that we have this evening. Briefly, Mr. Strive Masiyiwa is the founder and executive chairman of Econet Group, a Pan-African telecommunications, media and technology company with operations and investments over 20 countries in the world. Masayiwa serves on a number of international boards, including Unilever PLC, the Rockefeller Foundation, the Council of Foreign Relations, Global Advisory Board, the Africa Progress Panel, and the Hilton Foundation's Humanitarian Prize jury. And in 2016, he joined an expert task force on the reforming of the African Union under the leadership of President Kagame. Mr. Masayiwa also serves as the chairperson of Alliance for Green Revolution in Africa, a position he took over after Kofi Annan's team. As philanthropist, Masiyiwa is a member of the Giving Pledge, and his contribution to education, health, and development have widely been recognized. Mr. Masayiwa and his wife financed the Higher Life Foundation, which has supported the education of 250,000 African orphans in 20 years. I think this deserves a big round of applause. The Family Foundation provides scholarship to over 40,000 African orphans every year. Masayiwa has been selected twice, in 2014 and in 2017, this year, to Fortune magazine's list of the world's 50 greatest leaders of our time. Another big round of applause. Over the last years, Masayiwa has devoted his time to mentoring the next generation of African entrepreneurs through his Facebook page, as you may all be aware, which has been growing fellowship of nearly 2.4 million young people across the continent. And Facebook has identified this platform as one of the most engaging by any other business leader in the world. Makofi to that. Ladies and gentlemen, now is a prime time for us to elevate the sense of consciousness and now welcome Madam Irene Kiwia to conduct and to moderate the fireside chat with the one and the one only Strive Masiyiwa. Makofi kwa that.
Thank you everybody for joining. I am so happy to see such a great turnout, and why not? We have Mr. Masayiwa with us. I am so thrilled and honored to have this opportunity to have a conversation with you. Welcome to Tanzania.
Thank you, karibu sana.
Oh, I should be telling you karibu, but
I did well.
it's great that you already know Swahili.
Thank you.
So we have a lot of questions, and I will try and capture what I think and what we believe most youth are interested in. Every young entrepreneur's mind is, how did you get started? Did you always know that you wanted to be an entrepreneur, or was there an opportunity that came up and you had your aha moment and got into the entrepreneurship bandwagon?
Great. No, first of all, good evening, and it's such a privilege to be here. And thank you for coming. You know, my own entrepreneurship journey, I always say, began with my mother, because my mother ran her small business. She woke up extraordinary hours of the day, and she went about doing her business. And when I was home from school, I would work alongside her, listen to her ideas. But I never thought I was going to be an entrepreneur myself. The whole idea was she would work hard, we would go to school, I would get a job and be a professional. And I was dutiful in that. I went to university, I studied engineering. I came back and I worked for the government in a government telephone company. And you know, as I thought about my job every day, I felt disappointed at the end of every day. We were trying to provide telephone service to the people of Zimbabwe. And Zimbabwe prided itself as having one of the best services. But here was the problem. It would take you an average of 14 years to get a telephone. And should we be proud of that? But it had twice the teledensity, as we call it, for the rest of Africa, which meant it was almost infinitely impossible to get a telephone line, say in Nigeria or Tanzania and so forth. And I thought this was patently wrong. And that got me really riled up. You know, that I spent so much time trying to do something which I knew could be done better. And so one day I quit my job. I was 26 years old. And I got home and I said to my mother, you know, I'm going to start a business. She said, you know, now that I think about it, I thought you were going to do that. And so she never had a problem with it, but everybody else in my family thought I should be locked up in an institution. How does a graduate quit? Maybe he's a crook. But that's how I started.